Honourable Member for North Island, Powell River.
Madam Speaker, I'm here to speak and hopefully get a real answer to my question that I asked just a couple of weeks ago about the sudden decision to stop the sale of frozen at sea spot prawns. This is having a huge impact on coastal communities. I want to personally thank the BC Prawn Industry Caucus Chair, Emily Orr, who has been in regular contact with my office, connecting us with local folks in the sector and keeping us updated about the concerns that are arising daily. Since this announcement, prawn fishers and harvesters, their families, and members of coastal communities have contacted every member of Parliament in British Columbia about the Department of Fisheries and Oceans decision. My colleague, the Member of Parliament representing Courtenay, Alberni, and I wrote a letter to the Minister imploring her to reverse the decision. This is not some big corporation, Madam Speaker. These are small family businesses, in some cases, multi-generational businesses. They do not have the capacity or the resources to manage this type of change, especially when it is so sudden. It's simply not fair. The important facts are thus, Madam Speaker. It is the practice of freezing at sea spot prawn tails in tubs, and it has been going on for 50 years without any incident, without any concern. We know that prawn size limits are a market issue. They are not a conservation issue, and there is no minimum prawn size regulations for recreational or FSC harvest. The commercial prawn fishery of British Columbia has been consistently recognized both internally by DFO and externally by third-party assessment as a sustainable fishery. These are the facts on the record. No one seems to be questioning them. So why is DFO making this decision? And why are they making it now? For no reason that is clear, DFO has recently reinterpreted the existing fishery regulations to assert that a tub of frozen at-sea spot prawn tails no longer meets their requirement that fish are readily determined for inspection purposes. This is very concerning, Madam Speaker. There seems to be a redefinition of what readily determined is, but no one seems to know what that definition is now. With no clear reason being provided for the reinterpretation and no means of compliance for tubs of prawns frozen at sea being provided, folks are left in a significant lurch. In my writing, I'm thinking of people like Kim Mickelson and Melissa and Joel Collier, who are both second-generation prawn harvesters. I'm thinking of Shane, of Mike, Ivan and Loretta, Dwayne, John, Zeke, and Randy. These are people who have dedicated years, some of them over 30 of their life, to this work. By preventing the practice of freezing at sea prawn tails, which is the primary format for domestic sales, the Department of Fisheries and Oceans is effectively forcing freezing vessels to create an export-only product. This is terrible for the stability and economy of prawn fishing operations and undermines local food security. The situation is the fault of the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, not the prawn fishers, and DFO must make this right and fix it. The stand down on this decision for 1 year is simply not enough, Madam Speaker. Will the Minister...
I have to give the Parliamentary Secretary the opportunity to answer. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Natural Resources.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to the Honourable Member from North Island, Powell River, for a question. It's really my pleasure to be here tonight on behalf of my Honourable colleague and the member of Burnaby North Seymour. Our government supports the precautionary approach to fisheries management, one that prioritizes the health and conservation of stocks. The size limits are an important tool for managing the sustainability of the commercial spawn prawn fishery and are supported by industry. A size limit allows prawns to grow and reproduce before being harvested, supporting the renewal and long-term sustainability of the stock. In addition, harvesting prawns at a large size increases the average weight and price per pound, improving economic return for the fishery. DFO has been working together with the spot prawn industry on market traceability and packaging and labeling of spot prawn tails frozen at sea. Over the course of this work, DFO identified concerns about the packaging of spot prawns tails in tubs of frozen seafood, sea water, a practice that only recently became common in the fishery. This practice can inhibit the ability of our enforcement officials to easily and quickly confirm compliance with the size limits. I would like to clarify that the requirement of Section 36(2)D of the Fisheries General Regulations to pack fish in a way that the size can readily be determined is not a new or recent regulation, nor has DFO recently changed its interpretation of the regulation. Any person who catches a fish while commercial fishing must have it packed in a way that allows for the species number, weight, and size to be readily determined. This regulation is essential to allow DFO to verify fishers catch and properly manage fisheries. Madam Speaker, the department and this government recognizes the importance of this issue to the prawn industry, especially at a time when international markets' demand for seafood products has been negatively affected by the COVID pandemic. We are committed to finding a solution to this issue that will support industry's access to local markets. This is why we have been very clear that the conservation and protection enforcement posture this season will be one of awareness and education. Further, the department officials have been meeting with the prawn industry representatives on this issue over the past 8 weeks, and their most recent meetings last week, DFO and industry agree and to convene a working group that would develop and evaluate proposals for addressing this issue as quickly as possible. DFO staff will be working closely and collaboratively with the industry to explore immediate and long-term options to ensure a well-managed and sustainable fisheries. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for North Island Powell River.
Madam Speaker, this was a well-managed and sustainable fishery. This answer is really making me think of Kim, who I mentioned earlier, a second-generation prawn fisher for over 30 years. He was there when DFO confirmed this process because fisheries officers agreed it was an easy and sustainable system. He said, not now thawing a tub of tails for measurement, which takes less than 5 minutes if you run it underwater, is not an option. Currently, many prawn fishers are making a significant part of their revenue within the local community. During the time of COVID, that local market has grown and supported these prawn fishers. This decision will destroy the local market. Kim said this, people need the opportunity to purchase a good and local product. Prawns are a Canadian resource. People should have access to it. There are hundreds of spot fishermen who are telling us to listen. I hope this government will.
Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to clarify that this is not a new or recent regulation, nor has DFO recently changed its interpretation. Any person who catches a fish or prawn while commercial fishing must package it in a way that allows for the species, number, weight, and the size of the fish to be readily determined. Again, we recognize how important the prawn industry is to BC and to Canadians, and that is why we have been very clear that the CNP's enforcement posture this season will be one of education and awareness. At a recent meeting between DFO officials and the industry representatives on March 10th, DFO and industry agreed to form a working group to review industry proposals for addressing this issue. I am encouraged by the industry's interest to work with DFO on a speedy solution to this issue. DFO staff will be working closely, collaboratively with the industry to explore both immediate and